The extraordinary global impact of Wikileaks' ongoing revelations meant its founder's appearance in court would inevitably provoke intense interest. Scores of television crews and journalists crowded the entrance in a throng so large that the road was closed and traffic diverted. In the event, only the briefest of glimpses of Julian Assange himself was possible, as he was driven into court in an unmarked police car. The 39-year-old Australian had gone voluntarily to a London police station on Tuesday morning to be formally arrested on 4 allegations of sexual assault under a warrant issued by the Swedish authorities. Assange and his lawyers have emphatically denied the charges, but despite high-profile support and substantial financial backing, his application for bail was refused. The decision to hold Julian Assange in custody came as a real surprise in court, and there was an audible gasp from the public gallery as the magistrate made his decision. $170,000 of surety had been offered by Assange's high-profile supporters, including the film director Ken Loach, Jemima Khan and the documentary maker John Pilger. After the hearing, Mr. Pilger expressed his disappointment.
There are 2 things going on here. There is about justice to which Julian Assange has a right in this Swedish case, and there is a wider justice, a social justice, that we all have a right to freedom of information, we all have a right to know things, we all have the right to call to account governments.
But Assange's lawyer said there would be further attempts to secure his freedom.
We have heard the judge today say that he wishes to see the evidence himself. I think he was impressed by the fact that a number of people were prepared to stand up on behalf of Mr. Assange and prefer his innocence. In those circumstances, I think we will see another bail application, and they were but the tip of an iceberg. Many people believe Mr. Assange to be innocent, myself included, and many people believe that this prosecution is politically motivated.
Amen.
Clear. Come on.
Wikileaks made headlines in April with this leaked military video of a US helicopter attack in Iraq. Next came thousands of documents on US operations in Afghanistan, then subsequently Iraq. And the latest release of thousands of American diplomatic cables has made Julian Assange a target for the American authorities. In recent days, Wikileaks' bank accounts have been frozen and its finances targeted. But the website's supporters insist it is a vital tool for freedom. But the website will have to do without the direct involvement of its founder, at least for the foreseeable future, as he was driven away from court in a prison van to spend his first night behind bars.
And Paul can join us from outside that prison in South London where Assange is currently being held. And Paul, his legal team making it absolutely clear that they maintain these charges of these sexual offences are politically motivated, nothing else.
Well, that's certainly what they're saying. Now, whether they're going to bring forward any evidence to support those claims is quite another matter. But certainly in court today and before the court appearance, they've been absolutely strident in their insistence that there is bigger forces at work here, that this isn't just about sexual allegations surrounding Julian Assange, that these charges perhaps are some kind of Trojan horse in order to get Julian Assange within the possible jurisdiction of American courts and facilitate the possibility of an extradition to America, where we know the American authorities are very keen to speak to him and where they've spoken perhaps about using even the Espionage Act against him over his WikiLeaks revelations.
Paul, how confident do you think his legal team are that they will be able to secure bail when they go back to a hearing next week?
Well, one of the problems about securing bail is finding somewhere that Julian Assange can call home. I mean, we've been reduced to simply guessing his whereabouts for the past several weeks. Well, tonight we know exactly where he is. He's in the prison behind me. And in the court hearing today, he was asked what his address was, and there was some confusion. He tried to give a P.O. box address as his address. Now, the judge wasn't having any of that, and in the end, Mr. Assange gave an address in Victoria, Australia, not a British address. Now, that is clearly a problem. When you're trying to grant somebody bail, you need to know that they're going to be at an address which is going to be accessible to the police in this country, in the UK, and that was perhaps one of the things that was weighing on the judge's mind when he declined to give Julian Assange his freedom this afternoon.
Extraordinary case, Paul. We've had these high-profile supporters coming out and saying they would be happy to post bond for him. One of them, Jemima Goldsmith, a very wealthy woman here in the UK, saying that she doesn't even know Mr Assange, but is prepared to put up the money for him.
Yes, and Julian Assange is one of those particular characters. He polarises opinion, frankly. There are many people who believe in what he's doing without actually having ever necessarily met him. They believe in the cause of what they describe as freedom of speech, of whistleblowing. Of course, though, there are critics, and very strident critics, who believe that Julian Assange himself has become rather too big, that the Wikileaks website is less about whistleblowing and more about being a thorn in the side of governments. And there are question marks, of course, about the tactics of releasing diplomatic cables which are designed to be confidential, and question marks about whether they're actually whistleblowing any wrongdoing. Whistleblowing is generally perceived to be opening up wrongdoing to public scrutiny. Now, whether or not an American ambassador believes that the British Prince Andrew of the royal family is rude in a meeting, well, is that really exposing wrongdoing? Well, you could argue that.
Paul Brennan reporting live there from outside that prison in South London where Julian Assange is currently spending the night. Thanks for that, Paul.